All praises, all praises. Yo, yo, yo. Hey, man, what's poppin', man? It's your boy D Yates, and we're here with a whole new episode of the Mac Project Show. Wow. Hey, man, look, first thing first, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, and we do so in the name of His Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Boom. Hey, look, today's episode is going to be about something that, I just randomly found out myself. I've never heard of um it's a place in Mississippi right after the Civil War, and it was a place called the Devil's Punch Bowl. And there is where people were getting freed, right? Because this was during the Civil War. People were getting freed, and the the Union soldiers were the ones who were actually enslaving them as well. Let me just bring up a little article on that as well. The Union soldiers were enslaving them. They were, they basically put 100,000 some people in a small concentration camp in Mississippi, and yeah, it was crazy when I read about it. Right, it was crazy, and I want to go a little bit over the article. Also, I'm gonna play a little video just to give you information of what was happening. Actually, before we get into that, I want to actually pull up a couple of scriptures real quick. Um, let's go to Second Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Second Thessalonians 2 and verse 3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of partition." Right? So understand this. This is a part of the end time, is that the man of sin is to be revealed. Right? And all of this dark history, when we look at the history of Black Wall Street, we look at the history of, slavery, and even this, right? These are historical things that were hid away from us for a very long time, right? And guess what the Most High God is doing right now? He is revealing the man of sin, right? Okay, let's go to another one. Let's go to Luke 12 and verse 2. It says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." Right? So all of this stuff is happening right now, or Salakia, all this stuff that has happened in the past, guess what? Because of the internet and because of people actually doing the time to actually investigate it, guess what? All of these skeletons are starting to come out the closet. All of these skeletons are starting to come out the closet, right? And we need to know who's doing it. We need to know that this government, the same government that's making these jabs mandatory, right? These jabs mandatory is the same ones who were responsible for the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Were the same ones responsible for even this. It's called the Devil's Punch Bowl. We're gonna go over it, but mostly all the atrocities. They were responsible for the killing of Martin Luther King. They was responsible for the burning down of Rosewood. They were responsible for the government has always had their hand in destroying a certain people. And that's the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, God's chosen people. And history proves that. But today we're going to go over, as a matter of fact, I want to pull one more. Let me pull one more. I'm going to go to Jeremiah chapter 5. Jeremiah 5 and verse, let's start 5 verse 25. It says, "Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you." So we need to understand this too. As the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, guess what? Our sins is what got us in this situation. Us going against the covenant that God made with us has got us in this situation. That's number one, right? But let's read what God did. Go to verse 26. "For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that snares, they set a trap, they catch men. And history is going to prove that they've been doing this for a very, very long time. Verse 27, it says, a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit, right? Even where we living right now, they want to deceive you that this school system, this educational system is best for you. All hell breaking loose. Guess what they're still trying to encourage you to do? Well, hey, look, man, you still need to go to college, man. You still need to invest in Bitcoin, man. You still need to throw all your money away, throw all your resources away, throw all this stuff. Listen, our houses are full of deceit, right? Therefore, are they become great and waxing rich. These same enemies who setting snares for us, these same enemies who set traps for us, these same enemies who's catching us, guess what they're doing? They're getting richer and richer and richer and richer. Look at Jeff Bezos. During the pandemic, Jeff Bezos income like rose like what, like 50, 60 billion? They're getting rich in months, billions, right? They're getting richer and richer and richer, right? These are all things that's happening to our enemies. So now let's go to, actually, before I get into this, I want to actually play the video itself. I want to play just a little video for y'all. And I will put the link in the description. I'll put the link in the description too as well.
Thus, legitimately free individuals. As the Civil War drew to a close, thus legitimately free individuals and escapees alike were captured and held in contraband camps, so named because as commodities they were considered contraband by Union troops who had no qualms about perpetrating slavery for their own benefit. 3 such camps existed in the Devil's Punch Bowl area of Natchez. A massive exodus of former slaves from southern plantations trekked northward in hopes of reaching a location of true freedom. But embittered soldiers, resentful that the people considered property were now free, had other plans. Researcher Paula Westbrook, who has extensively studied Devil's Punch Bowl, noted, when the slaves were released from the plantations during the occupation, they overran Natchez, and the population went from about 10,000 to 120,000 overnight. Unable to grapple with an instant population swell, the city turned to Union troops still lingering after the war to devise a merciless, impenitent solution. So they decided to build an encampment for them at Devil's Punch Bowl, which they walled off and wouldn't let them out. Former director of Natchez City Cemetery, Don Estes, explained. Devil's Punch Bowl is so named for a cavernous bowl-shaped gulch walled off by treetop cliffs. It was the perfect place in the heart of nature for the army to enslave people and carry out their regime of torture. The men were forced to undergo heavy labor throughout the day while the women and children were simply locked up behind the walls. Every slave man, woman, and child was starved and kept in the worst of hygiene conditions. The slaves died of torture by starvation and exhaustion. After the slaves were dead, the soldiers kept their bodies to rot inside the camps. They never cleared or buried the bodies. Instead, they provided inmates with shovels to bury their slave brothers and sisters inside the camp. They were told to bury them where they dropped. Such conditions, along with the camp's location and climate of the region, contributed to the outbreak of several diseases that infected and killed the slaves. One of the major diseases contributing to the fatality was smallpox. Estes said of the concentration camp prisoners, they were begging to get out. Turn me loose and I'll go home back to the plantation, anywhere but there. Locals say human skeletons occasionally wash free from the location in times of heavy rains and flooding. Wild peach trees now dot the basin where human beings who
There were people begging to go back. They were begging to go back to the plantation because of how treacherous, because you got to understand, well, who was the Union at that time? The Union was the people who won the war, right? So there will be your modern day United States Army. You're thinking that the United States Army, who quote unquote fought on the side of freedom, they was going to be there to help us, right? That's what they thought. No, they did not. They actually set up a concentration camp for them and walled them all off, made them do forced labor, right? Also, the diseases were in the camp and the diseases were killing them off. What does that sound like now? What does that sound like now? That sounds like, the penitentiary system now. Think about it. They says that, matter of fact, let me pull up an article on that. Let me pull up an article. Let me pull up an article to let you know that none of this stuff is completely is different. None of this stuff changed. Nothing has changed. There's nothing new under the sun, right? Let me pull up this article. 1 second. Let's go to Rona. Rona in prison. Rona in prison. Let's just go to this one. It says, and I'm doing this completely off the cusp. It says, dozens of Texans died of Rona in prison despite being granted parole, reports found. So there's nothing new, right? Let me go back to the video. Let me go back to the video just to prove that there is nothing new.
Believe they rains and flooding. Locals said of the concentration camp prisoners, they were begging to get out of the region, contributed to the outbreak of several diseases that infected and killed the slaves. One of the major diseases contributing to the fatality was smallpox. Estes said of the concentration camp prisoners, they were begging to get out. Turn me loose and I'll go home back to the plantation, anywhere but there. Locals say human.
You know, a lot of times when people think of concentration camp, what they think of? They think of Nazi Germany, right? That's what they think of. And guess what? Nazi Germany got his ideas from the concentration camp from? America. And so while this country, has always been put on this pedestal, right? Guess what? Every atrocity that has ever happened, or the worst atrocities that ever happened in the world, happened right here on this land, right here on this soil, right? And guess who it happened to? Didn't happen to everybody, right? Let's go to the Bible. I'm gonna go to a couple more verses. Go to Isaiah 42. Isaiah 42. So let me see if I got to pull it. All right, bet. Isaiah 42 and verse 22. It reads, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. The devil's punch was a slope. This is like the devil punch bowl was like a bowl shaped, literal, it was a hole. And that's what made it perfect for them, because it was a harder terrain for people to escape from. They built up walls around it so you can't get through, right? They put us in a hole. They snared us, right? It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled, right? They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth for a spoil, and none saith restored. Nobody has restored us. You can't put a people through all of this stuff. The stuff that we know about, the stuff that we don't know about, that we don't remember, or that they decided to skip past in their history books. You can't put us through all of this stuff and expect us to come out perfectly right. No, we still jacked up. We still have PTSD, right? We still are going through all this stuff. We have so many mental issues, but it all stemmed from us not keeping the commandments in the first place. And God said that he was going to do this thing to us, right? But nobody don't say, you know what, let's think about these people and let's actually try and restore them. Let's actually try and not being fake. Let's actually really try and restore this people who we raped, robbed, murdered, stole, did every jacked up thing, experiments. We've done everything to these people. Now let's try and help them out. Let's give them a break. No, they keep piling on it still to this day. Right? Keep going. Verse 23. It says, who among you will give an ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Verse 24. Who gave Jacob for a spoil? Who gave us up for a spoil? Why are we in this position? Why do we have to get packed on cargo slave ships? Why do we have stuff like Black Wall Street? Why do they have to die? Why did this crisis had to happen? Why did the red summer? Why did that stuff had to happen? All these different massacres in our history. Why is this all happening? Why is this happening today? Why are we all in the jail right now? Why do we make up 90% of the prison population right now? Are we the only ones committing crimes? No, we not. But why is this happening to us? Who gave us up to this? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? We're given to robbers. If you can't understand that these people robs everything, they take your ideas, they take your money, they take your land, they take everything. How about this? You buy yourself a house completely paid for and don't pay your taxes. Guess who owns that house now? The robbers. This is what they do. This is their MO. So you think that these same people is going to create a medicine to help you out? You think they're going to create medicine to help you out? You're stupid. Anyway, it says, who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord? Did not the Most High? Right? He against whom we have sinned. We sinned against the Most High God. That's why we're in this position today. For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. We are the main reason why we're in this jacked up position right now. We are the main reason why we're at the bottom of society. We're the main reason why we have history like this. We're the main reason why we got history like this. We are responsible for this. When we have to watch our people die and they hand you a shovel and say, bury them when they fall at. We are responsible for this. We could get mad at everybody else, but we are. Why? Because we will not stop sinning. We will not stop. We won't stop hating our brothers. We won't stop having sex with each other's wives. We won't stop killing each other. Like we just won't stop. We won't stop stealing from each other. We won't stop not worshiping on the Sabbath days or observing the Sabbath. We won't stop. We won't stop. We'll rather do Christmas. We'll rather do Easter. We'll rather celebrate birthdays. We'll rather do every single thing that God don't tell you to do. We'll go to opposites. God said go left. We have to go right. We have to go diagonal. We'll go every other direction besides the way that God told us to go. And that's why this happens to us. That's why this continues to happen to us. It has not stopped happening to us. Every day you can see something new on the news. That's why it happens to us. Everyone. Keep going to Isaiah. Isaiah 42:25. It says, therefore he has poured upon him the fury of his anger. This is the fury of the Most High's anger and the strength of battle. And it has set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not and burnt him. Yet he laid it not to his heart. Right? So like the Most High God is clearly showing that he's pouring his fury out on us every single day. Every single day, we see the fury of the Most High with how we get treated, with how we at the bottom of society, with how you got to actually work for your enemy. Why you have to work for your enemy, and then guess what? You spend all your day working for your enemy just to get money with your enemy face on it. Just to get money with your enemy face on it. Yeah, this is people lose their life over a piece of paper with their enemy face on it. You don't understand that the issue with that? That's the issue. This is why we tell our people we have to come back to the Most High. We have to come back to the Most High. We have to start keeping his laws. We have to start following them, or not, or not. You ain't got to. You ain't got to. You don't have to. You can just keep going on and see how far that gets you. How about that? Right? Jeremiah 30:14 says, all thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy. Right? We are being wounded by our enemy today. Right? With the chastisement of a cruel one. This is a cruel punishment. This is a cruel captivity. Right? It says, for the multitudes of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Because we wouldn't stop. It ain't that the Most High is not forgiven. He's very forgiving, but we would not stop. And so now look at our people today. God say, don't be a homosexual. We be the biggest homosexuals. God say, don't be a whore. Guess what our women want to be? The biggest whores. God say, your men be the head of the household. Guess what he'll rather be? He'll rather be he's not being the head of his household. He's not moving how he's supposed to move. You're supposed to be teaching your family as a man. Guess what? You're dumber than the children. The children are smarter than you. The children have more value than you. All this stuff that God say do, we don't do. And then we wonder why in the world we're in this position. It makes sense, right? Verse 15, it says, why criest thou for thy affliction? Why are you crying now? Why are you mad? Why are you mad? I told you, God sat down. He set the rules. You obey me, you be at the top. You disobey me, you be at the bottom. Why are you crying that you at the bottom now? Why are you crying when he's beating you with the whips? Why are you crying? Why are you mad that you got to go and work for this job and you only make it $8 an hour and you can't afford nothing? Why are you mad? Why are you crying? Why are you upset? Right? It says, why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable. There ain't nobody can help you out. We are in a position mentally, we're so far destroyed, nothing can help us out. If the Most High God does not come here and help us and deliver us and restore us, we're dead. We're done. It's too far gone. It's too far gone. Right? It says, incurable for the multitudes of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. Because we would not stop, guess what God did? He did everything he said he was going to do. He's perfect. He's always perfect. Everything about his judgment is perfect. Right? Verse 16, it says, therefore, though, but it's a lot of bad. But therefore this, right? Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured. Uh-oh. So we know who's devouring us. We know who is responsible for this. We know who's responsible for this. We know who's responsible. We're going to be real. Let's be real. Right? It says, therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured. And all thy adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. Whoa. And they that spoil thee shall be as spoil. And all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. This is what we're working for, right? Keep going down to verse 17. It says, when it says right here on verse 15, thy sorrow is incurable, right? Yes, our sorrow is incurable for normal people. That's why we had your Marcus Garveys to no avail. We had your Malcolm X's to no avail. We had your Martin Luther King's to no avail. We had your Dr. Khalid Muhammad for no avail. We had Elijah for no avail. We had Farrakhan to no avail, right? We had all these people raised up to try and help us and cure us as a people to no avail. It's incurable. But this is what God said, verse 17, for I will restore health unto thee. I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they call thee an outcast. They call us an outcast today. They call us savages, They call us wild beasts, and not saying that we don't deserve to be called savages and wild beasts, because look at how we act. Look at what we do, right? It says, because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after, right? Verse 18, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent and have mercy on his dwelling place. And the city shall be built upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. So the Most High is going to restore us. That's what we're working for. But there's only one way to get restoration. There is not two ways to get restoration. There's only one way, right? Matter of fact, let me go to that. It's only one way to get restoration. Let's go there. Revelations 22 and 14. Just getting to the point. There's only one way to get that restoration that we desperately need. Right? Verse 14, it says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. That's the only way that we're going to get restored, is by being obedient to the Father and repenting, and real repentance, right? Real repentance, real accepting of this punishment, right? Leviticus 26 and 40. Leviticus 26 and verse 40, it says, if they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass, which they trespassed against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquities. That's the thing. We have to be accepting of these punishments. We have to be accepted because we deserve them. We deserve them. We deserve to be at the bottom of society. We deserve slavery. We deserve when Dylan Roof walked into a church building and killed 9 people. We deserve the police putting his foot on your neck and sucking the life out of you. We deserve getting shot down. We deserve struggling, going paycheck to paycheck. We deserve every little thing that happens to us. We deserve it. We earned that shit. Excuse my French. We earned it. We deserve it. Right? Go down to verse 20 on 42. It says, but it says, it's like it says, verse 41 says, they then accept of their punishment of their iniquities, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. Right? This is how we get our restoration. By coming back to the Most High God, being humbled, and accept our punishment, and turn back. Turn back. And then guess what he's going to do? He's going to remember that he loved us. He's going to remember, all right, listen, I told y'all I was going to do this, but now I'm going to remember, I'm going to bless y'all. I'm going to bring y'all back to y'all own land. I'm going to set y'all up, and guess what? You're never going to come out of power again. You're going to be saved with an everlasting salvation. That's what he promised us. That's what the Most High God, the creator of everything, promised us, an everlasting salvation. Isaiah 45 and 17. It says, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded, world without end. We are that world that he promised to be at the top, and we promised to be a world without end. Every other nationality had their own kingdom, and guess what? Every last one of their kingdom failed. And guess what our kingdom is not going to do? It's not going to fall, because thus saith the Lord. Hey, look, this has been another episode of the Mac Project Show. And like I said, I'm going to put the link for the actual article and the video in the description box on the YouTube and on the description box in the on my podcast. Please, on YouTube, they be tripping. You know what I mean? I had a couple videos taken down. So please subscribe to my podcast, at Google Podcasts or iHeart, Spotify, wherever you consume podcasts is at, because there I could put out more I guess, well, less restricted videos on me talking about certain issues because YouTube be tripping. Hey, look, this has been another episode of the Mac Project Show, and I'm out. Wah.